Well, let's get back to it, shall we? Virtue. Maxims of law avow that justice and virtue are synonymous. Before a man can implement justice, he must first possess virtue, which the Bible declares flows from the Lord alone, Luke 6:19, and defines virtue as whatsoever things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, and of good report, Philippians 4:8. The Lord further expands, saying, the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. James 3:17, and that he that follows after it establishes righteousness and honor. Proverbs 21:21. God, who gave us life, gave us liberty. And can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we have removed their only firm basis? A conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are of the gifts of God, that they are not to be violated but with his wrath. Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever. The favorable smile of heaven can never be expected on a nation that discards the eternal rules of order and right which heaven itself has ordained. Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and righteous people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. It cannot be emphasized too strongly or too often that this great nation was founded not by religionists, but by Christians, not on religions, but on the gospel of Jesus Christ. For this very reason, peoples of other faiths have been afforded asylum, prosperity, freedom of worship here. We have staked the whole future of America's civilization not upon the power of government, far from it. We have staked the future of all our political institutions upon the capacity of mankind for self-government, upon the capacity of each and all of us to govern ourselves, to control ourselves, to sustain ourselves according to the Ten Commandments of God. No truth is more evident to my mind than that the Christian religion must be the basis of any government intended to secure the rights and privileges of a free people. Fathers of American scholarship and education. All persons born on natural or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. In American constitutional law, the word state is applied to the several members of the American Union, while the word nation is applied to the whole body of the people embraced within the jurisdiction of the federal government. Black's Law, 4th edition, 1891, is merely an accessory of a debt of the debt which it secures, and falls with the extinguishment of the debt. Black's Law, 4th edition, 1891, are divided by law into natural and artificial corporations or body politic, quasi-municipal corporations, bodies politic, and corporate, created for the sole purpose of performing one or more municipal functions. We, the people, of the United States in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. People are supreme, not the state. Warning versus the mayor of Savannah. The state cannot diminish rights of the people. Hurtado versus California. At the Revolution, the sovereignty developed on the people, and they are truly the sovereigns of the country, but they are sovereigns without subjects, with none to govern but themselves. Chisholm versus Georgia. The people of this state, as the successor of its former sovereign, are entitled to all the rights which formerly belonged to the king by his prerogative. Singh versus Smith. Ordained to enact a constitution or law. State versus Dallas City. King is the sovereign ruler, holds the highest executive power, aka the people. Sovereignty itself is, of course, not subject to the law, for it is the author and source of law. But in our system, while sovereign power are delegated to the agencies of government, sovereignty itself remains with the people, by whom and for whom all governments exist and acts, and the law is the definition and limitation of power. Yick Wu versus Hopkins. No God, no liberty. No God, no liberty. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. Jesus said, John 8:36. If a nation expects to be both ignorant and free, it expects what never was and never will be. Thomas Jefferson. The favorable smile of heaven can never be expected on a nation that disregards the eternal rules of order and right which heaven itself has ordained. God, who gave us life, gave us liberty. And can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we have removed their only firm basis? A conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are of the gift of God, that they are not to be violated but with his wrath. Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever. The fate of unborn millions will now depend, under God, on the courage of this army. Our cruel and unrelenting enemy leaves us only the choice of brave resistance or the most abject submission. We have, therefore, to resolve to conquer or die. I am sure that never was a people who had more reason to acknowledge a divine interpretation in their affairs than those of the United States, and I should be pained to believe that they have forgotten that agency, which was so often manifested during our revolution, or that they failed to consider the omnipotence of that God who is alone able to protect them. Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. Statesmen, my dear sir, may plan and speculate for liberty, but it is religion and morality alone which can establish the principles upon which freedom and can securely stand. The only foundation of a free constitution is pure virtue, and if this cannot be inspired into our people in a great measure than they have it now, they may change their rulers and the forms of government, but they will not obtain a lasting liberty. They will only exchange tyrants and tyrannies. The safety and prosperity of nations ultimately and essentially depends on the protection and blessing of the Almighty God, and the national acknowledgement of this truth is not only an indispensable duty which the people owe to him, but a duty whose natural influence is favorable to the promotion of that morality and pity without which social happiness cannot exist, nor the blessings of a free government be enjoyed. Observe good faith and justice towards all nations. Cultivate peace and harmony with all. Religion and morality enjoy this conduct. And can it be that good policy does not equally enjoy it? Can it be that providence has not connected the permanent felicity of a nation with esse virtue? Nothing can contribute to a true happiness that is inconsistent with duty, nor can a course of action conformable to it be finally without an ample reward, for God governs and he is good. Happiness, whether in despotism or democracy, whether in slavery or liberty, can never be found without virtue. It cannot be emphasized too strongly or too often that this great nation was founded not by religionists, but by God's children, not on religions, but on the gospel of Jesus Christ. For this very reason, peoples of other faith have been afforded asylum, prosperity, and freedom of worship here. It is the duty of every man to render to the Creator such homage. Before any man can be considered as a member of civil society, he must be considered as a subject of the governor of the universe. We have staked the whole future of American civilization not upon the power of government, far from it. We have staked the future of all our political institutions upon the capacity of mankind for self-government, upon the capacity of each and all of us to govern ourselves, to control ourselves, to sustain ourselves according to the Ten Commandments of God. Religion, or the duty we owe to our Creator, and manner of discharging it, can be directed only by reason and conviction, not by force or violence. Let it simply be asked, where is the security for prosperity, for repudiation, for life? If the sense of religious obligation desert the oaths, which are the instruments of investigation in the courts of justice, and let us with caution indulge the suspension that morality can be maintained without religion, whatever may be conceded to the influence of refined education on minds of peculiar structure, reason, and experience both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in exclusion of religion. 'Tis substantially true, religious principles. 'Tis substantially true that virtue of morality is a necessary spring of popular government. Though, in reviewing the incident of my administration, I am unconscious of international error, I am nevertheless too sensible of my defects not to think it probable that I may have committed many errors. Whatever they may be, I fervently beseech the Almighty to avert or mitigate the evils to which they may tend. Congress and President George Washington in 1789 passed the United States Annotated Code, Article 3, which states, religion, morality, and knowledge being necessary to good government and the happiness of mankind, schools and the means of education shall forever be encouraged. Religion in law and government. In my view, the Christian religion is the most important and one of the first things in which all children under a free government ought to be instructed. No truth is more evident to my mind than that the Christian religion must be the basis of any government intended to secure the rights and privileges of a free people. The father of American scholarship and education, Noah Webster. The brief exposition of the Constitution of the United States will unfold to young persons the principle of Republican government, and it is their sincere desire of the writer that our citizens should early understand that the genuine source of correct Republican principles is the Bible, particularly the New Testament of the Christian religion, Noah Webster. The religion which has introduced civil liberty is the religion of Christ and his apostles, which enjoins humility, pity, and benevolence, which acknowledges in every person a brother or sister and a citizen with equal rights. This is genuine Christianity, and to this we owe our free constitutions of government, Noah Webster. The moral principles and precepts contained in the scriptures ought to form the basis of all our civil constitutions and laws. All the miseries and evils which men suffer from vice, crime, ambition, injustice, oppression, slavery, and war proceeds from their despising or neglecting the precepts contained in the Bible. Noah Webster. When you become entitled to exercise the right of voting for public officers, let it be impressed on your mind that the preservation of a republic, and God commands you to choose for rulers just men who will rule in the fear of God. Government depends on the faith discharge of this duty. If the citizens neglect their duty and place unprincipled men in office, the government will soon be corrupted. Laws will be made not for the public good so much as for the selfish or local purpose. Every master of slaves is born a petty tyrant. They bring the judgment of heaven upon our country. As nations cannot be rewarded or punished in the next world, they must be in this. By an inevitable chain of cause and effect, Providence punishes national sins by national calamities. Common law is our heritage. Liberty is our inheritance. We, the people, have been lulled asleep. We have been robbed and persuaded to sell our birthright. James 1:25. Whosoever looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deeds. My people are destroyed for their lack of knowledge. Horace 4:6. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting get understanding. Proverbs 4:7. So ordained and sealed. We the people, by the mercy and grace of God, ordain with certain unalienable rights, among the right to form and exercise this 25 people grand jury in the spirit of the Magna Carta and our founding fathers, and in obedience to God for this country, on behalf of the people, having recorded our authority with the county clerk, the state Supreme Court chief clerk, by which we act in order to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity by the securing of natural law, and thereby returning justice, honor, and grace for a perpetual administration of trust on behalf of the people, hereby defined in this handbook, we the people. Only the people can save America. Will you? Register with the National Registry at www.nationallibertyalliance.org to become common law jurist. We are establishing common law juries in all 3,141 counties in the United States of America. By doing so, the people will move our courts back to courts of justice and take 100% control of our government. Watch the video, Power of the Grand Jury. The duty of the common law grand jury is to right any wrongs. If anyone's unalienable rights have been violated or removed without a legal sentence of their peers, the grand jury can restore them. In addition, if a dispute shall arise concerning this matter, it shall be settled accordingly to the judgment of the grand jurors, the sureties of the peace. In a U.S. Supreme Court stunning 6-3 decision, Justice Antonin Scalia, writing that the majority confirmed that the American grand jury is neither part of the judicial, executive, nor legislative branch of government, but instead belongs to the people. It is, in effect, a fourth branch of government, governed and administered directly by and on behalf of the American people, and its authority emanates from the Bill of Rights and has the power to enforce law and remove people from the public office. Frequently asked questions. Once I register, what happens next? If you want to be an active full-time or part-time grand jury jurist, notify one of your county coordinators and they will assist you. You can find them listed under county coordinators at www.nationallibertyalliance.org. Otherwise, your name will go into a jury pool and you will receive a phone call occasionally to participate as a trial or grand jurist. I'm not going to go into all these questions. I'll read a little bit more into this before I choose to share the rest. Thanks for joining me.